Shalom, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rachakwadash. Double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. And salutation and much love to the Akim out there pushing out his word in truth and sincerity. This is Brother Osh from Great Millstone, Tampa, back with another lesson. Lord's will be edifying to the hopeful elect. So I can. Oh boy. There we go. Yeah, and Lord's will is going to be edifying. See the scripture or the title of the video on the watchtower. So just gonna go through some articles and current events. So the videos I got pulled up here. That's a rock. Second address. This second address 9-1. It said he answered me then and said, "Measure thou the." It's like it says, "Measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he had made." And that's his prophets, watchmen, right? Because before they were called prophets, they were called seers. So what are we seeing? What are we watching for? The prophecies, because that's the measuring, the standard. Okay, that's how we know or we can recognize the signs, because the Lord himself gave us signs or indicators of his return and how close it would be. All right, once we see these things. Let me see what in the GNT it says. Second Ezra 9-1. He answered, "Consider all these things very carefully. When you see that some of the signs I have told you about have happened, have appeared, you will know that the time has come when the Most High will bring judgment on the world he has created." So the Lord is bringing judgment, okay, worldwide. So we know that the Lord has already begun to visit the earth, okay. That's why, let me pull this up real quick. That's why, what manner of persons ought you to be in? But the Lord said in Matthew 26:41, "Watch and pray that ye enter not into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak." Mark 13:33, "Take ye heed, watch and pray, for ye know not when the time is." Okay. Luke 21:36, "Watch ye therefore and pray always, that ye may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass, and to stand before the Son of Man." So the key point is watching, man, and praying, of course. So let's get the word there for watch. Watch ye. Argipino, agropeno.
Strong's G69, a group neo.
A group of neos. It says to be sleepless, keep awake, watch, to be circumspect, attentive, ready. Are you ready at this? Did not the scripture say, "Be ye ready to the battle"? All right, be ready to be pilgrims upon the earth. You need to be watching. You got to be sleepless. Be not as them that sleep. Right now, it's a high time to wake up out of sleep. How can you be watching or attentive or ready if you're not awake? And to be awake is to be watching what's going on. All right. So let's get into some of these videos I got here. This one just popped up before I started the video, so let's check it out. I haven't watched this yet. Fair use. This one is about Houthi forces have launched a series of military operations targeting Israel. And these are the things you need to be looking out for. Of course, we know the mark of the beast is still coming. It has to be mandatory upon the earth. But these are things that are stirring up the battle, okay? in the battle of Yehoshaphat, or the valley of Yehoshaphat. So let's see what they got to say here. Fair use. It's going to be some animations. That's all right. Because Israel just recently bombed Qatar, or adding the number six, of course, country that they bombed in the region in this past year. Number six, Qatar, and all these nations. Again, this is all prophecy. All right, it's lead these the things that are we seeing happening is leading these nations together, and as the scriptures say, the least of the flock shall draw them out. Okay, let's get that real quick. And I have a video I'll pull up, but Colonel, he's saying the same shit that the scriptures say. I'll get the one at 50, Jeremiah 50 and 45. Therefore, hear ye the counsel of Yahweh by Shemi Shai that he had taken against Babylon, aka America, and his purposes, that he hath purpose against the land of the Chaldeans. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. Yeah, so as you see these things unrolling, or playing out, this is the will of the Lord. So let me see if I can find this video first. Of the Colonel, it was on redacted. So fair use again. We gotta say that.
Well, earlier.
Okay, hold on. I think it's like halfway. Let me see here. There we go. Pull this up real quick. Salakia. See, because he's pretty much gonna say what the script we just read. Okay, about the least of the flock drawing them out. Fair use.
On September 29th, in Washington, D.C., of course, Netanyahu basically runs the United States, as anyone with a brain knows. You saw the South.
Again, which is the least of the flock. So these guys, which they set up or not, people are starting to speak the truth, all right? Because the spirit of the Lord is on people to make Esau bear, chiefly Amalek, all right?
Soundbite, of course, this morning with Netanyahu talking about his enemies, China, Qatar, are now enemies.
China. Now China and Qatar are enemies of Israel. So America's there now. They're the new enemies of China and Qatar by default.
And he says, our enemies are, of course, the United States' enemies. So I imagine we're planning an attack, of course, on Iran. We're getting ready for probably another attack on Qatar, and now China. What do you make of those statements today from Netanyahu?
China.
Well, first, remember, all small states are permanently in the business.
Here it is. Yep. This is Kale of some side. This is the part. He heard we say. He said all small states, which when he's talking about small states, he's talking about the state of Israel. All right. The least of the flock shall draw them out. Draw them out where? Huh? Where's the least of the flock gonna draw them out into? Joel chapter 3, verse 2. I will also gather all nations and will gather them down into the valley of Yehoshaphat or Jehoshaphat, which is the Middle East, and will plead with the Levant, the Middle East, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations, a part of my land. Just to hit the point, let's go down to verse 12. Let the heathen be awakened and come up to the valley of Yehoshaphat, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. And we'll come back to this.
Of dragging large states into wars on their behalf. If there's any small state that wants to survive, like Israel, and starts a war that it cannot
Fair Use Act.
possibly win without tremendous support from us, has a permanent interest in dragging us in. Now he's trying to tie up.
He would say dragging them in. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Let's see some different translations here. Probably doesn't do it justice, but we'll see anyway. NLT. Even the little children will be dragged off like sheep. So yeah, I don't get it. See here. But that's the same. It's describing that dragon pulled away. Okay, So you get the point. Now listen up to this is a Colonel retired Douglas MacGregor.
Us to the phony threat of an imminent Chinese invasion of Taiwan, which is not imminent and not likely unless we're stupid enough to put missiles and rockets on Taiwan that can reach the mainland. We've already got batteries of missiles sitting in the northern Philippines that can reach the Chinese mainland. Nobody talks about that. The Chinese are upset about it and don't understand it, but at the same time, they're not willing to invade the Philippines to get rid of it. But the point is that, China's a current boogeyman, so tie your future to the boogeyman and say, now we're all in this together.
Yeah, because Russia's already full-fledged, which I got videos pulled up on that. They're already at war with NATO. They've already declared it. Now they got to draw in China somehow. All right. So pretty much just pitting all of adversaries of America are getting pushed together to the same corner. So what do you think they're gonna do? And then, Trump was over there in the UK today, being greeted by the king of England, that devil. But you see that the relationship with America and the EU and NATO is over.
No, we're not.
Which is the prophecy, the beast hating the whore.
We're not in anything at all with Israel. Israel is controlling us for one simple reason. He's bought and paid for the United States Congress and the White House. And there's an old saying, there's nothing more reliable than a man you can buy for cold hard cash. And it looks like that's what he's got. And the audience that he's talking to, as I understand it, consists of large numbers of members of Congress.
Yeah, that's the point on that. He pretty much said it already. But these nations are being drawn into this war because Israel continues to indiscriminately kill people, not only in Gaza, but throughout the Middle East. And these nations are getting sick of it. Now, Saudi Arabia and other countries, after this attacking Qatar, they're coming together. Russia is backing them now. We'll get to that, though. So let's finish this video. I'll see what it got going on. It's probably just about the Houthis in Yemen, but we'll see. Targeted again, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, stop. See, these things are serious, man. We're supposed to be a third world country and they got missiles like that? Shit. That's supposed to be Yemen shooting hypersonic missiles? Alright. Let's see here. Here we go. Alright, let me get this video here real quick. Hold on. Slovakia. Yeah, let me play this one here. Open it. Come on, man. Come on, man. All right, here we go. Let me just pull it up. Slovakia. In the news, we're on the watchtower. See what's going on around the world. Saudi, Iran to lead Arab Islamic attack on Israel. Defense chiefs hold rare talks after Qatar hurdle. This was yesterday. So let's just see a little bit of this. What's going on? So now you have these countries that have actually been at war because Saudi Arabia and Yemen are actually at war, technically, which are the Houthis that we just seen video about. But now they're going to be on their side. Why? Because they're killing the Arabs. And it's all biblical prophecy. Someone's going to have to come defend Israel. And it ain't going to be Russia. As a matter of fact, pursuant to Ezekiel 38, Russia's going to help protect these nations. Okay? So as you see these nations, like we read, what are they doing? They're getting ready. The Lord's gathering them up for the final showdown, the war of Armageddon. Just go back to Joel chapter 3, verse 9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war. Wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Where are they coming up? Well, there's gonna be war all over the world. There's already war all over the world. But the, the, the battle, okay, the fight, the finale, the final battle, World War III, chiefly will be fought in the Middle East. Of course, America is going to be destroyed, but it's not going to be World War III. Is not going to be fought it's going to be fought in the Valley of Yehoshaphat ultimately, because that's what the Lord's going to fight him too when he returns, because that's why he's gathering them all up there. It says, verse 10, beat your plowshare shares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I'm strong. That's where you got these nations bucking up against Israel and doing what they want, disregarding America's sanctions and their tariffs and the bullying, because now they can say they're strong. Now they got backing up. Now they got alliances. Now they have military capabilities that didn't they once have. And we mentioned this at camp when it was down. I was down there with the brother Barack out there in Fort Myers. We went to do camp with them brothers out there, and we mentioned that yeah, America's military, don't get it twisted, is still strong, so to say, because of the capabilities they have. I'll say that. But the foot soldiers are through. But nonetheless, they're still able to send missiles. They're still able to send a B-2 bomber. They still got warships, floating submarines, so on and so forth. But now, the great equalizer, not only is first and foremost is the weapons of mass destruction, thermonuclear missiles and hypersonic missiles, but now is these alliances that have not been seen before. You got Russia, China, Iran, India, Brazil, Venezuela. I don't know if I said Iran, but now Saudi Arabia is joining them. As we just seen, Saudi Arabia hopping on board. Now they can say whatever the hell what you gonna do? Okay? Just like America has been saying for years, now these nations are saying, what are you gonna do, nigga? Do it. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I'm strong. All these countries are putting more money and putting more effort into building what? Military productions, production for the military. It ain't time to put money into the fucking cow fields and the farms. All right, you got to put the GDP into the military. It's time to make missiles, not skyscrapers. Verse 11, assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord, Yahweh Bashim. Let the heathen be awakened and come up to the valley of Yehoshaphat, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. So the Lord is going to judge these heathens out there. That's why you see this going down. Okay, and again, this is what's going to draw in America. They've already done it. They're on the tit, like the dude said on the redacted. America is at the whim of Netanyahu, which is even above him, really. We know, but nonetheless, America is at the teat of Israel's beck and call. The Iranian official will meet Saudi Defense Minister Khalid bin Salman in Riyadh. So, for a long time, Saudi Arabia has been an ally to America in the Middle East. That's coming to an end. This was yesterday. This marks the third leg of the Larijani regional tour after Baghdad, Iraq, Beirut, Lebanon. Iraq has been bombed by Israel this year. Lebanon has been bombed by Israel this year. Yemen has been bombed by Israel this year. Syria has been bombed by Israel this year. Gaza has been bombed by Israel this year. Iran has been bombed by Israel this year. Qatar has been bombed by Israel this year. And these nations are sick of it. As a matter of fact, Egypt, you know what? Egypt is about to declare war on these devils. Okay. Let me see here. And again, this is the prophecies, man. These nations. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, here it is, right here. That right here. Salakia. Let me put that right there. What the fuck?
Kings, presidents, and emirs of the brotherly Arab and Islamic countries. His Excellency, Mr.
So this was after the Qatar bombing. All right, which Israel reported or alleged that they were killing some high-level officials of Hamas. Really, they was chilling in Doha, Qatar. All right. So now Egypt, which is on the southern border of Israel, declares Israel an enemy. Cairo to tear up Camp David Accords. I thought it was, if I'm not mistaken, I could have sworn it was the Abraham Accords, but let's just look this up. Let's just look it up. All right, the David Accords, and then we'll look up the Abraham Accords. Camp Davis Accords. I heard of the Abraham Accords. Let's see what this is. David. It's probably after Israel and the Egyptian War. Forgot what year it was. Let's see. So these devils been at war ever since they got in that land in 49. It ain't never stopped. Let's see here. Camp David Accords. I'm having trouble, huh? Generating some bullshit lies, I see. Yeah. What did the Camp David Accords do? Camp David Accords signed by President Jimmy Carter, Egyptian President Anwar Sadat, and Israeli Prime Minister Menachem began in 1978, established a framework for a historic. Okay, so this had to have been after the war. Then they had a war, Egypt and Israel. Okay, here we go. Regional tensions were high after conflicts of the 6-Day War in 67, the Yom Kippur War in 73. Okay, so yeah, it was pretty much a peace treaty. So what about the Abraham Accords? I think the Abraham Accords was for further Israel up further north. The Abraham Accords are a series of U.S. brokered agreements signed in 2020. Normalize different. Okay, so this. Okay, I thought I remembered the Abraham Accords, but it was because it was recent. It was more recent. But anyway, all of them accords are BS because neither Abraham or David's, which are Abraham's people, are there because Ishmael and technically Edom too, but uh, the line of David, the son of Abraham, the son of Jacob, it's like the son of Isaac, the son of Jacob. They're not in the land like that. Now, do you have some people that are Israelites out there? Sure. A lot of them motherfuckers getting blown up to pieces is probably Israelites over there in Gaza.
In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, my brother, His Highness Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, Emir of the State of Qatar, Your Majesties, Excellencies, and Highnesses, Kings, Presidents, and Emirs of the brotherly Arab and Islamic countries, His Excellency Mr. Ahmed Abul Gay, Secretary General of the Arab League, His Excellency Mr. Hussein Ibrahim Taha, Secretary General of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, peace, mercy, and blessings of Allah be upon you. At the outset, I would like to express my sincere appreciation to my brother, His Highness Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, and to the brotherly state of Qatar for hosting this important summit, which is being held at a highly sensitive time and amid grave challenges facing the region, challenges that Israel seeks to turn into an open arena for aggression.
See? These nations know what's going on, man. The least of the flocks will draw them out. And again, this is leading to the War of Armageddon. The third woe. How's it go? It's in Revelation, what is it, 11 or 12? 11. Revelation 11 and 14. The second woe is past, World War II. And behold, the third woe cometh quickly. You're seeing it. It's already begun.
Which threatens the stability of the entire region. and constitutes a serious breach of international peace and security, as well as the established rules of the international order. I would also like to convey to the leadership and people of Qatar, Egypt's full solidarity and unity with its brothers in confronting the heinous Israeli aggression that has taken.
See, so these nations are coming together. They're sick of the Amalek. They're sick of these gutter rats. And who's been backing them is America. So there's not only is the beast gonna hate the whore, everybody's gonna hate the whore. They're all waking up. They all been drunken. They drunk of the cup. They're all drinking the wine. And now they're sick of it. They're waking up because it's over. But the reign of Babylon has come to an end. The end of Edom is here. Okay, we're seeing the downfall, the collapse of the self-proclaimed white man system. It's crumbling before his eyes, and he can't do shit about it. Second Ezra 6:9, it says, "For Esau is the end of the world." This is the world we're witnessing collapse. Esau's world. What's that one song from Nas? Whose world is this? The world is yours. Well, nigga, Esau's world's coming to an end, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth.
Place in Qatari airspace and territory, which represents a grave violation of the provisions of international law and the Charter of the United Nations. It constitutes an extremely dangerous precedent and is indeed a threat to Arab and Islamic national security. Let me clearly and unequivocally emphasize here that this aggression clearly demonstrates that Israeli practices have exceeded all political or military logic and have crossed every red line. We express our condemnation in the strongest and most unequivocal terms of this Israeli aggression against the sovereignty and security of an Arab state that plays a pivotal role in mediation efforts with Egypt and the United States to achieve a ceasefire in Gaza and to end the war.
Yeah, so you get the point.
Achieving a just and sustainable solution to the
Egypt,
issue,
but it has the David Accords with Israel. It's saying that fuck you, you're an enemy, clearly. Let's see what else we got here. Russia, Iran. See, this is Ezekiel 38.
Says once again on file what started as
Shut your mouth. You speak when spoken to. Shit. This is Ezekiel chapter 38. Verse 3. Yeah, let's get straight to the point. I started one. It says, and the word of the Lord, Yahweh Bashmi Shai, came to me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, which is the Russians, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech, which is Russia, and Tubal, and prophesy against them. Yeah, because Russia's going down with America too. China going down with them. Everybody going down with Babylon the Great. But the Lord's using these different pieces on the board, so to say, to bring the game to a close. And it says, and say, thus saith Yahweh Shemel Shai, behold, I am against thee, O God, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws. That's what they're doing. What Russia's doing, what they're doing. All right, getting back into that former USSR spirit, taking back territories and making new alliances with former Soviet countries, or revamping them anyway. It says, and I will bring thee forth all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers, shields, all of them handling swords. Yeah, all the weaponry of Russia. You know, you just take a look at it. It's vast, and that's what the Lord's bringing forth. You know, from the seas to the skies to the foot troops. Okay, it says Persia, which is Iran, India, the Elamites, Ethiopia, and Libya with them. All of them with shield and helmet. Gomer, Turkey, and all his bands. The house of Togarmah of the north quarters and all his bands, and many people with thee. Yeah, so it's going to be more than just these nations that listed off. These are the chief ones, but and many people with thee. Be thou prepared, and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. So the Lord has Russia being a guard unto these people, because they say they back a country. That's it's a heavy thing, because they're a superpower. They got nuclear weapons. Okay. Same thing we're going with China, but we know Russia's the star player. But you see, look what's happening in Venezuela. They're backing them. Oh, we just what? They just shot another boat, right? Let me see before we get this one. They just shot another boat. Yeah, and killed 3 people allegedly. A fisher boat.
Let's turn our attention right now to more top headlines here online.
If America's so big and bad, why don't you just pull up in Venezuela now? Just go ahead. They can do it. They have the military capabilities. So why haven't they just pulled up in Venezuela and just started fucking niggas up? Well, because Russia, China, Iran, and others have vowed to have their back. Again, the weak are saying they're strong. Venezuela, they got a military, but they got jets, they got tanks, they got millions of people in the military, but they don't have no capabilities like America. They ain't got no nukes. They ain't got no fucking cruise missiles that fly from continents, intercontinental ballistic. So what's the problem with America? They just sitting on the boats staring at them. They just sitting at here it is. They're sitting in the ocean over there in the Caribbean with these warships and these nuclear powered submarines, and all they can do is shoot a couple fishing boats with so-called drugs on it, illegibly. America's finished, man. It's not the power it once was. Remember when Iraq invasion happened? That shit was televised. I remember. That shit, they had a countdown to that. Oh, tonight's the night. I remember Bush got on that TV, boy. What happened to the good old days with America, man? Now they can't do that no more. They did it in Iraq. They did it in Syria. They did it in Kuwait. They did it in Afghanistan. They did it in Libya. They did it damn near in every country in the Middle East. And now they can't invade Venezuela, some spics, some fishermen, some farmers. Okay.
Fox as we continue to detail
the cartel. The cartel. You're going to war with the cartel. It's all bullshit. But nonetheless, either way, the Lord still got sides being chosen because we're entering into World War III. And just like in World War I and World War II, there were sides. So again, why hasn't America invaded? Maybe is it because China has put equipment on the ground? Maybe is it because Russia has put equipment and soldiers on the ground? Of course, the American Fox News ain't gonna tell you that.
latest on a
But there's a reason they haven't invaded, right? Here it is. They shooting boats in the middle of the ocean. Who knows who the fuck's on them boats? But they can't invade the cartel. Didn't they put $100 million on Maduro's head? That's a lot of money.
another kinetic strike of a potential suspected narco-terrorist there in the Caribbean. I do want to put up just this video, or this post on social media, I should say, from the President of the United States talking about this, saying this morning, on my orders, the U.S. military forces can...
Yeah, this is the first war ever that has been publicized on fucking social media. Here it is, the president, the commander-in-chief is giving people play-by-plays on social media. Come on, bro. If this ain't a joke, what is?
Conducted a second kinetic strike.
Let's get something real quick. Yeah, this shit is a joke. At this point, if you believe this shit, you fucking through. All right, you are through. What is that? 2 Corinthians 2:11. 2 Corinthians 2:11. Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. Yeah, we're not swayed, by this nigga's lies, bro. NLT, so that Satan will not outsmart us. You can't outsmart the elect, for we are familiar with his evil schemes. Hey, was he not loose to the seed of nations? That's his MO. If deception don't work, then the sword will. BBE. So that Satan may not get the better of us, for we are not without knowledge of his desires. There you go. Nigga tweeting with the... Come on, bro.
Identified extraordinarily violent drug trafficking cartels and narco-terrorists in the South. Even here on Live Now from Fox, as he says the strike occurred.
Look. Do you even see anybody on the boat? But okay.
All these confirmed narco-terrorists from Venezuela were in international waters transporting illegal...
Okay, I guess that's the people on the boat, maybe. Because there's supposed to be 3 of them. But where's the drugs? They got drugs and people on the boat. Where's the boat? Where the boat? Come on, man. There's just a boat in the middle. It's not even moving. What, they taking a break? Taking a quick snooze in the fucking middle of the ocean? You know what I'm saying, man? This government is full of shit. And with this social media era and CGI and AI, don't trust everything you see, man. Remember, we walk by faith, not by sight. Because this devil is going to deceive many through your sight. Okay? Just because you see it on the television screen doesn't make it real. When you go to the movie theater and people are dying and blowing up, the whole damn city's on fire, it didn't really happen, but it looked real. What's the difference between that and the news? They can do it. Just keep playing it over and over, show you different angles of it. But it's not real. Literally, it's called cinema. A horror, the film, a thriller.
Headed to the U.S., these extremely violent drug trafficking cartels pose a threat to.
Oh yeah, look how violent and big of a threat they are. They're just floating in the ocean.
National security.
Boom. No questions asked.
Policy.
No judges, no jury, nothing. So that's pretty much what they're showing is that they don't care. They're gonna kill anybody that they please. That's what they're showing. That's what America is showing. They'll kill anybody if they please. If you're in the wrong spot at the wrong time, tough luck.
Once again on fire.
So again, going back to this, Russia, Iran, and Saudi Arabia unite against U.S. and Israel. We just read in Ezekiel 38.
Started as Israeli airstrike inside Qatar has now turned into full-blown diplomatic earthquake. The attack left several people dead, outraged not just in Qatar but also its allies and neighbors. And here's the twist, ladies and gentlemen. This time, even Russia has stepped into the ring. Moscow's foreign minister.
See, this is big because Russia is saying, all right, this got to stop, man. And that's what Ezekiel 38 says. And of course, we know it's not going to be full-blown nuclear missiles flying through the sky tomorrow. But these are the prophecies. Okay? It's all happening. The mark of the beast is going to happen very soon. While people are yet in their comfort and living deliciously, sudden destruction is going to come upon them.
Sergei Lavrov, he didn't mince his words. He called Israel's strike cowardly and accused their Prime Minister, Mr. Benjamin Netanyahu, of deliberately recurring peace talk. Why? Because while Hamas negotiators were in Doha reviewing a US brokered ceasefire deal, Israel was bombing the very country where those talks were happening. Russia says that this proves that Israel is not interested in peace, but only in widening the war. But Russia isn't standing alone here. Be it Saudi Arabia, be it Iran, be it Qatar, all are condemning Israel's actions. Yes, you heard that right. Saudi Arabia, which was once on the path of normalization with Israel under the US pressure, is now publicly slamming Tel Aviv. Iran, as always, is backing.
So they're openly slamming Israel. Saudi Arabia. And Saudi Arabia is a big player. So is Turkey. Okay? And now they're seeing, all right, it's inevitable that we're going to go to war with these motherfuckers over there. Okay? They know it's coming. They haven't done nothing because they're allegedly allies with the U.S., but that's coming to an end.
The Palestinian cause, and Qatar, whose capital just came under fire, is furious and rallying Arab opinion against Israel. This is dangerous because the Middle East, it runs on alliances, right? And those alliances are now shifting that too really fast. The Gulf Cooperation.
Yep. So again, the sides are being chosen. Like in World War II, you had the Axis powers and the allies. This is literally what you're seeing again. And it's only going to be America and Israel, and everybody else going to be against them, including the EU and NATO, which I got a video on that, I believe. NATO, how they've already declared war with Russia. It's over.
Council, which includes Qatar, Kuwait, Bahrain, and Saudi Arabia, they have already warned that an attack on one member could be treated as an attack on all. Now, can you imagine that? Israel may have just turned not just one, but multiple Arab states against itself.
Yeah, so what are they going to do? You already seen when only Iran was attacking them and all the missiles was getting through. Now, what happens if Iran, Saudi Arabia, Lebanon, Yemen, and others at the same time shoot missiles? I'm not talking about nuclear destruction. I'm talking about cruise missiles like we've seen for the last couple months. What happens if they do that? Well, the Iron Dome and David's slingshot will be overwhelmed and they will get pummeled. So but the Lord's still holding them back for a reason, because that chip got to come out. But these nations are coming together. That's the point. The Western hegemony is over, led by America. It's done. It's crumbling. Remember, it's the iron mixed with miry clay, part strong, part weak. This place is finished. That whore that rideth upon the beast, she's through.
In just one strike. Now, let's not forget the US factor here. Washington is caught in a very awkward position, right? On one hand, it is Israel's closest ally. On the other, its biggest military base in the Middle East sits inside Qatar. The very country Israel just formed. For decades, the US has relied on Qatar as its go-between Hamas and other groups. But if Doha feels betrayed, then what happens to America's influence? Does Russia step in to fill that vacuum? And that brings us to none other than Vladimir Putin, by openly siding with Qatar, Iran, and Saudi Arabia against Israel. Moscow is basically signaling something very clear. Russia wants to be the new power broker in the Middle East. With America's attention on all the wars that are going on in the world, Russia sees an opportunity to move in, unite Arab anger, and push Washington aside. So let's ask the big question. Are we looking at the early sign of a much wider war? Because
Yes,
right
you
now,
are.
Israel isn't just
Exactly
fighting
what you're
Hamas.
looking at.
It's facing the possibility of a united Arab front, with Russia cheering them on, Iran fueling resistance, and
Yeah,
Saudi Arabia
this is the
shifting
one
the
with
weight of
NATO.
Washington's script. One Israeli airstrike in Doha may
fuck?
have just set off a chain reaction that would change the balance of the power in the Middle East.
So pretty much Russia and NATO, they're going to battle very soon. Is this it? Trump burns is India. Oh no, this is not it. But Trump burns is India, which was America just slapped 50% tariffs on them because they kept buying oil from Russia, and pretty much, well, India, they showed up in that what was it, the SCO, that meeting Asian countries had in China, Shanghai. India showed up. They were there for the parade. So they're pretty much saying, all right, even though they're big trade partners with America, they're saying, fuck this shit. We're going with Russia and China. What you gonna do? India crosses red line by joining Russia Belarus war games. The only people ain't training up and playing war games are you fucking retarded Americans. You over here debating whether this nigga's a man or a woman, or if women should have voting rights, or if they should be able to show their ass in the streets, or maybe he's dead, maybe he ain't. Mr. CK, maybe he got shot in the neck, maybe he dead, maybe he ain't. Meanwhile, you got these other nations having war games. Modi has sent troops to take part in Zapad exercise rehearsing conflict with neighboring NATO countries as relations with U.S. unravel. Through. Meanwhile, they let a fucking faggot, a tranny, into the military here in America. Tell him he got to cut his hair a little shorter. You think they have that problem with the Russian military or the Chinese, the Indian military? They got to tell their women they don't. If they got women in the military, they ain't on the battlefield. That's for damn sure. See, how was the hammer of the earth about to asunder, man? It's the city of confusion. You don't know if he's a man. You don't know if he's a woman. That's the beginning of the downfall of a society. When degeneracy runs rampant. When you don't know if it's a man you're looking at or a woman. From there, it's over. Let alone go to war. NATO increasing air defense, yeah, because recently there were some downed drones in Poland, Russian drones. This is not the video I was looking for, though. But yeah, Russian drones breached Poland or NATO airspace. I guess that was, I don't know, maybe. You know what? Let me see here. Let's see what they say. News on the news. NATO at war with Russia, Kremlin says 2 days ago. Newsweek. The Independent. Ukraine, Russia war leaders. Trump says it takes two to tango as peace efforts stall. Come on, bro. Let's see this. Let's do it by date. Pope Leo the 14th. Eastern Europe tense. NATO has not started any war. Putin war games with Belarus and India just joined. We just seen that. Poland and NATO deploy 30,000 soldiers in military drills. Well, guess what? Russia upped them up and said 100,000 plus aircrafts and naval vessels. Russia prepares for all-out NATO war. Putin's speech to Russian troops near NATO borders amid Poland drone tension, war threat. Let's see. So let's see the Russia Poland border. But they'll be next. If Taiwan don't come first. Oh, come on, man. The fuck? It's like it. Sorted by date. Duplicates. Okay, 9 hours ago. The new Iron Curtain. Why Poland's border with Belarus matters to the U.S. After a week, they found another Russian drone in Poland. It was almost 40 kilometers from the border. Okay, Russian troops start leaving Belarus after this. Okay. Okay, let me do this. Hold on. War hysteria in EU reaches new level as Russian military poised to defeat the Kyiv regime force. Well, they've been done. Putin's speech to NATO. Let's see. Putin's speech to Russian troops near NATO borders amid Poland drone tension. Let's see here. No, we're not going to listen to this. Oh. Vladimir Putin leads the final stage of the Zapad strategic exercise, 100K, blah, blah, blah. I want to see what he said, though. Anyway, you get the point. It's on. All right? The prophecies are popping like popcorn. All right, so you got to keep an eye out and watch, like we started off the video with. Watch and pray that these things are happening. Just because you don't know what's happening doesn't mean it's not happening. Finland predicted the consequences of the NATO war against Russia. Question mark. I don't know. Let me see here. I can't remember if it was a video or an article I had read earlier. Well, let's see this one 2 days ago. NATO at war with Russia, Kremlin says. So that's probably the okay, never mind. It's a different guy. Lavrov or whatever his name is. NATO is at war with Russia. Russian spokesman of Russia. Okay, Dmitry Peskov. Amid spiking tensions between the alliance and Moscow. Blah, blah, blah. Peskov said Monday it is obvious the alliance was de facto involved in this war. Yeah, of course. Who the fuck have you been propping up Ukraine? Shit. The only way you stand is because of America and these NATO nations. Man, anyway, that's it, man. You see these things are going on, okay? And the average American has no idea what the fuck is going on. Why? Because we're living in the last days. All right? As we on a watchtower and we're watching, we're not only watching for these prophecies, we're watching all these imbeciles that live amongst us. Okay? Because we're on that high tower, that watchtower, you're seeing it all. Okay? Why you think we're sighing and crying unto the Lord for all the filthy conversation? Okay? All the abominations amongst us, man. The detestable things. That's what the scripture's talking about, man. Why we sighing and crying. We're not sighing and crying because we got to go to work. And, of course, we hate going to work. But that's not what it's talking about. We're sighing and crying because we're sick of this fucking wickedness running rampant on the planet. I don't even remember. What was I gonna look for? Oh, okay. Last days. That's what I was gonna get. Oh, it's escaping me right now. No, it's okay. Here it is, right here. I know it was in Timothy. 2 Timothy 3:1. And this is why difficult times are coming. But the people don't want to take heed to the watchmen, all right, the seers that are blowing the trumpet loud as hell, telling you the enemy is coming. They're about to burn the fucking city down, and they don't want to take heed. Because again, not only are we watching prophecies, we have the foresight. We can see out of the distance being on the watchtower, but we're also seeing the people behind the walls not taking heed. And then what are they doing? Let's see. 2 Timothy 3:1. This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. Let's get this in the NLT actually. Let's see here. The dangers of the last days. You should know this, Timothy, that in the last days there will be very difficult times. And we've been warning you people about these difficult, horrendous, terrible times that are about to come upon you like a thief in the night. It's gonna drop kick the majority of Americans in the face very soon. And a lot of our people too that think this is a game. Don't know what they got themselves into. Think they just put some fringes on a t-shirt and then you good. Verse 2, it says, for people will love only themselves and their money. Scriptures say the love of money is the root of all evil. But people are the most selfish, the most prideful, self-indulgent assholes that have ever lived and walked on the face of the earth. Here in America is the proudest of any civilization ever to come. And that's why it's going to go out the way it's going to go out. Sodom and Gomorrah, it was in the neighboring cities were destroyed. But guess what? It was just those cities. This is going to be the whole goddamn cursed place called America. How about that? Because it is damned by the Most High. It is goddamn America. But it's going to be destroyed. Thermonuclear missiles. Thus saith the Lord. That's the ultimate danger in the last days. While these people are being lovers of themselves with all these selfies and don't even want to listen to nothing going on if it don't affect them. They definitely love their money. And just think about our people. The hell with the heathen. When we read this, it says for niggas and spicks will love only themselves and their money. That's what our people are living like today. But that's okay because they have been warned. They have no cloak for their sins now. It says they will be boastful and proud, scoffing at the Most High. And how do they do that? Scoffing at his messengers. They misused the messengers of the Most High until the wrath of the Lord came upon them without remedy. They scoff at the Most High in their everyday walk, let alone in front of the prophets when they come to the house of the Most High. They do it every day by the way they live. They'll go to church and then commit some atrocious act right afterwards. Put a nigga outside. He just heard the gospel. He outside smoking a black and mild or eating pork in the back. Disobedient to their parents and ungrateful. They will consider nothing sacred. The only thing sacred to them is going to be that thermal baptism, okay? Because we got washed with the water, the washing of the word, right? We was cleansed with the washing of the word. The 2/3 need a cleansing with the fire of the word, all right? And then ultimately it's going to be a real fire, thermonuclear, burns hotter than the sun. Let's see how many. I think it's 20 times hotter. Let's double check it. Approximately 100 million degrees or Celsius, or about 180 million degrees Fahrenheit, which is significantly hotter than the center of the sun. You think we making this shit up? This is what you got waiting for you unless you repent. A fire that's what's gonna take place on this earth that's gonna burn hotter than the center of the sun. That's what's coming to the wicked. And that's why we on the watchtower warning you. And the time is running out. All right? The time to take heed is running out. So this is coming. So, hey, with that, Lord's will, this was edifying to the hopeful elect. Hey, look at that. Right there. That's them teeth, and they do hurt. But with that, we're gonna give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rachakwadash. Double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone who were well, and salutation and much love to the elect of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. Shalom. Mawat Lababal.